I'm probably he probably looking at me right now, telling me stop jugging like you tweaking, shorty.
What would you say to him?
Shit, granddad, you gotta see how grandma doing. I'm about to make this bread.
What about you, man? You had any role models growing up?
Shit, nah, not really, feel me?
What about your pops?
This is so sad.
He not really no role model. I don't fuck with that nigga for real.
Has he tried to reach out to you, like, since you're getting older? And
Nah, yeah, I talk to him a little bit, but still.
I've had homies whose dads are kind of like popping in and out. Whenever they get to be like 17, 18, they try and reach back out and like explain, oh, I couldn't be there for you because I had all this shit going on. Did you guys had any conversation like that?
Yeah, bro, that shit, like, that's a main conversation for everybody and their father that haven't been around for a minute, feel me? That's their go-to sentence.
It's kind of 50-50, you know, like some friends of mine have said, okay, I forgive you, I just want you back in my life now. And the others say, nah, fuck that, you weren't around, like, stay away from me.
Yeah.
Which one do you think you fall into?
I'm the second one for sure, feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, feel like, fuck that nigga.
Mud thicker than blood, you know what I'm saying?
Do you guys see yourselves as like a family?
Yeah, definitely. These my brothers.
What was
How
that?
you not brothers? If you're risking your freedom, you're risking your life with each other. You gotta depend on him to drive, make sure you don't mac. You gotta depend on him, do whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you do in the moment.
How important is loyalty in your life?
That's the most important.
What do you think really measures loyalty among friends?
Sometimes even being out here isn't enough. Like, you need to really be in situations. Like, sometimes it really takes being in cuffs to see what the fuck is gonna happen.
That's why struggle's not always such a bad thing sometimes, because it really builds character and shows you who's real and who's not. A lot of these people, they got
I would agree
money,
with
but they
that.
don't really got friends like we do. You know what I'm
100%
saying?
would agree with
Like,
that.
if you don't understand how we came up, where we came from, and like what we do, then you can't, like, you're not gonna understand us. Like, you feel me? Like, Keisha may not be us, but our come up is us. You feel me what I'm saying?
All right, shit, you guys want to get down?
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna have some kids in the nighttime.
All right. Cuisine, the most overlooked, underutilized purpose of Channel 5 programming. But boy, do we love to eat sometimes. And today, we're at Frank Pepe's Pizzeria Napolitana.
We're at fucking Frank Pepe's with it, New Haven, Connecticut, pizza capital of the world. They told us to go to Sally's. We're not going to Sally's, we're going to Pepe's.
As I entered the restaurant, I could already smell the maritime aroma of
Oh,
Atlantic
dude,
Ocean
pizza
clams
sounds
being
so
shucked
good
to
right
perfection.
now.
That's because this place is known for their white clam pizza, a wood-fired, mouth-watering delicacy that can only be found in New Haven. It's a whole family of clams on a piece of pizza. Embalmed in grated pecorino romano and oregano flakes, the family of clams is dusted in the perfect amount of flora, with no fauna, which is a nice touch, but the spices undermine the garlic. 7 out of 10.
DJ came about the woods just like a hermit. If a tree falls down, I'll be the only one who hurt. What was that? All the bee stings, so I know I'm not allergic. And the game warden always asking for my fishing permit. They bogus.
High 8s, 9. I mean, the clam is a little weird, but it's pretty new.
Before I could even digest my pizza
Pretty
Napolitana,
mid, huh?
I got a call from Kevin Morse, the
Kevin
Kia
Nine.
boy hunter himself, who wanted to take me along on a mission to drone a drug dealer, a regular pastime of his, where he terrifies local trappers by air by deploying a DJI drone above their stash houses. I was in. I met Kevin Morse in a nondescript
crazy
parking lot
that
on
dude's
the
doing
outskirts
that.
of
Is
New
he-
Haven,
he's not even a
entered his
cop.
patrol car, which was stocked up with Monster energy drinks, vape juice, and of course, a miniature samurai sword.
Because I live by the sword and I die by the sword. So I will die before I stop on scene media and whatever
That's
we're trying to do with
crazy.
the
And he's a
fentanyl
vapor,
and all
dude.
that.
Let's
I could have
go.
ripped it harder, but this thing
He's a
was assault.
vapor.
I'm vaping.
Gotta love
in
him.
a sub-on tank.
I'm a vapor.
What defines droning a drug dealer?
Droning a drug dealer. He's a
Well,
citizen.
somebody sends us a message, basically with an address and a description, vehicle, whatever it is. And then we get to the area, deploy the drone, and try to lay eyes on it. And the psychological games that the drones play with these people, it's insane. They've told me. It makes them crazy.
So to clarify, the plan here, we're gonna
This
fly
is
a drone
driving
into
crazy,
the sky,
huh?
Yep.
and we're about a block and a half from like a drug dealer stash house. Or
This is crazy.
Potentially, at least where they're trapping out of.
has this led to any like
Pew, pew.
successful arrests before?
Instead of Mountain Dew.
I'm just gonna say yes. You know, depending on what they're doing, maybe we'll fly the drone right by them. This drone is very loud and intimidating when you hear it. When they see it, they know we're around and I'm sure it throws them for a loop. All right. Yep,
It has a
straight. All right,
bulletproof
all right,
jacket
all right.
that
Slow
says
down, slow down,
press
slow down.
on
Can
it.
you go to the right, Ernest? All right, look, this is where I want to see if we can spot any dealers here. Let's see. Back up a little, because you are. All right, there's the
Someone's gonna
highway.
get
Yep,
this guy,
that's good.
dude.
Now turn. Look
Kyle
down at the street,
Morris,
because I'm looking. See if you
someone's
can
gonna
spot
get you,
anybody.
buddy.
Oh, here's the store right here. Okay. So
Doing
this
too
is another
much.
spot right here. So this is how good of a job we've done.
Live by the
they're
sword, die by
nowhere
the
right
sword, I guess. But
Unfortunately, Kevin failed to locate any drug dealers, but it's okay. A for effort. Anyways, whenever night fell, I wanted to call Swervo to see what they were doing. Where are you guys at?
Oh, we're in Milford.
Oh, I'm in Milford right now too.
Yeah, we're just trying to find a good location.
A good location to get a V?
Yeah.
Swervo told me to meet him at the Milford McDonald's and pulled up shortly after in the blue Mazda from earlier and told me to get in. Assuming the car was probably stolen, I threw my shiesty on and got in the back seat. Pretty immediately, he began driving erratically, swerving between lanes and truly living up to his name as we headed toward the state highway.
It's all good.
yo, this is crazy.
He poked his head out the window and began scanning the roads for cops. They said they'd had the car for over a week,
Yo, these
and after
dudes
being
are
reported as a stolen
crazy.
car to the local police, it was getting hotter and hotter to drive by the day. No less than 2 minutes into our drive, I began to hear police sirens. Perhaps naively, I assumed the Kia boys would just pull over and try to talk their way out of it, but no. Swervo dipped onto a service road and hit the gas, approaching 110 miles per hour.
Yo, this is the best documentary out there right now. I'm
By
saying.
some stroke of luck, the cops stopped pursuing us. I'm not sure why. By this point, my adrenaline is pumping. Time seems to move in hyperspeed, but also slow motion at the same time.
They're not chasing.
I start to understand why the Kia boys like doing this. It's a special feeling to successfully outrun the
Yo.
cops in a high-speed chase.
Had to turn my life all the way up. Had to turn my swag all the way up. Had to turn the bag all the way up.
I'll turn it back all over you.
We
That's
drive to the suburbs of
crazy.
New Haven, and Swervo tells me they're gonna steal some Vs. At this point, I feel that I'm in a little bit too deep. I mean, it's one thing to get in the back seat of a potentially stolen car, but to actually accompany someone while they steal a Kia seemed a little bit too far. So I had to think fast. How can I get this footage without being an accomplice to a Class D felony? I decided to give my handycam to Swervo's homie, who said he'd film their mission and give me the footage, and I'd follow close behind in my camera crew's rental car. As a disclaimer, Channel 5 does not condone, endorse, or promote auto theft or car burglary. Viewer discretion is advised.
This probably get take down or something from YouTube. This is
Swervo
crazy.
begins his mission by locating a Hyundai.
Yeah.
He shatters the passenger window with a special tool and clears the broken glass with his bare hands. Using a flathead screwdriver, he disables the lock cylinder, then goes to put a cheap USB cord into the ignition.
I think it's got the update.
He says the car is a dud. The driver recently installed the anti-theft software update. They had to find something else. Just a few cars down, he locates a 2010 Kia Forte and starts all over.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's just going for it. Just going for it. Bleeding too.
After successfully activating the engine with a USB cord, Swervo's on the move, and I'm following close behind, genuinely curious as to what his plan is. Swervo begins driving as fast as he possibly can, then comes to a stop and tells me it's time to turn up.
Alright, let's turn up.
He kicks things into high gear, swerving erratically from left to right, like a madman, hitting breakneck speeds down residential streets, in a nauseating frenzy that lasted probably 45 minutes.
He's driving crazy like that for 45 minutes? And no cops showed up. Why would they? He's a freaking juvenile. They do nothing. They do nothing to
After
him, I
that,
guess.
Swervo led us back to the highway and appeared to be trying to shake
I wouldn't
us.
pull up either.
He later told me that we were making it too hot for them, somehow, and so got off at the nearest exit, headed to God knows where. A few minutes later, he called to tell me the Kia ran out of gas at a random intersection, so he abandoned the car and fled on foot.
Nah, it's all good.
We located the car near a cul-de-sac in Milford. Thankfully, it was recovered by Connecticut police, and we're told was reunited successfully with its owner the next morning.
That. Dog mom, just some random
I went back to my
lady.
hotel that night feeling a bit puzzled. I mean, Swervo essentially just risked his freedom for a 45-minute joyride, and even if he'd been able to get the car back to the hood to resell it, he only would have gotten $100.
Kia, you only getting $100 in the hood for that shit. $50, that's it.
Yeah, somebody
That's
wants a lot
crazy,
in that
dude.
shit.
$100
I mean, that
bucks.
is so,
You get a
so
Kia.
stupid. But this leads me to a
Like, if
deeper
you're going
question.
on a
What
freaking
kind of
drill or
environments
something,
facilitate
that's
this
what you need.
antisocial criminal behavior, where consequences seem obsolete? I mean, there's no noble Robin Hood alibi behind stealing a Kia or a Hyundai, like there might be if you were, I don't know, living in the slums and stealing Bugattis or Lamborghinis from billionaires or something. Kia is like Honda. It's a working class, fuel-efficient car. And so this type of crime is all around just shitty and sad. For the victims, it leads to a collapse in social trust, which is the glue of a community.
I've been a wreck for 3 weeks. I don't eat, I don't sleep, I'm afraid to leave my house. My sense of safety is gone, my
I know,
sense
that's a
of
little
security.
much. I've had
And for the
things stolen from me, yo.
it
and
reflects a
they've
deep
been
personal
like-
alienation and a hopeless search for status, meaning,
like that.
camaraderie,
Not
and social
freaking
media
out, you
fame
know.
in a
My
world
car
without
stolen,
guidance.
though, I
Nigga,
love
we're the
that
biggest
story.
on IG.
Hell yeah.
Well,
see,
also
so,
that
you know what I'm saying?
after me, but I'd be like, now that I know about the Kia boys, you already know. You already
In
know
a
who
way,
it
I
was.
kind
Don't
of
buy a
understand.
Kia.
All kids from every walk of life like to fuck around and get in trouble when they're teenagers. But for the Kia boys, this teenage chapter may unfortunately define the rest
Yeah.
of their lives.
This is
Assuming they're
just
16 or
blowing my
17,
mind.
they only have about a year or a year and a half until they're going to be charged as adults for the same crimes. And so
And
the
these are probably,
likelihood
like, the
and the
small
window for a
crimes that they
retro
do,
bill
man.
style
Imagine,
intervention
like,
is
the
very,
drills
very
that go
slim.
down
Which
in
is
these
sad.
big cities.
I'd like to think that all human beings are not inherently bad, and even the worst among us are just healing unmet needs in some way. But I also know that some people are just shitty and view temporary personal gain as more important than the suffering of a total stranger. But that being said, in my personal interactions, the Kia boys didn't strike me as total
It's crazy that dude
sociopaths.
just stole a
In
package
fact,
for
they
no
display
reason.
a great deal of empathy for their own
That's
family
crazy, do
members
your
and also
job.
for
I
each other.
so grab a
Blood thicker
package
than
right out your
blood.
hand.
You know what I'm saying?
He's my
I'm
brother.
telling you, probably get
And
shot.
so it's more likely that their personal alienation doesn't come
Yeah.
as a result
I
of a
don't
deep
know.
sadistic desire to cause pain to others, but rather environmental factors.
The Trumbull Garden.
The morning after our mission,
Bridgeport,
I went to go
Connecticut.
visit
Yo,
the
I know
Kia
someone,
boys
I
in the
think, who
housing
lived
projects in
in
Bridgeport where they
Connecticut.
spend their time. A 36
And they told me it
building
was
government-built
crazy down
plaza
there,
of
throwing
identical
parties, doing
residential
all this
apartments
stuff.
called the Trumbull Gardens.
The Trumbull Gardens.
Nobody there was above 25. There was no parents, no uncles, no moms, no grandmas, just youth. Every 45 minutes or so, the screeching tires of a fresh Kia can be heard driving into the gardens.
Look at them little motherfuckers. Yo!
Somewhere in this mix is Swervo and the other Kia boys, who have cars for sale for $100.
Do your research, you heard? Do your research, you heard?
In addition to cars for sale, there's also items inside these cars that are being pawned off. In a recently stolen Kia, there were DVD copies found of the Hangover trilogy and the movie Into the Wild, both going for about $20 a piece. Despite obvious differences in music, fashion sense, and of
Yo,
course slang,
that's crazy.
it's safe to
Someone
say
steal
that
your
this
car
environment isn't
and
unique.
sell DVDs
Every
out the
government
whip.
housing project in America and the mentality it produces is virtually the same. Us against the world, get out by any means. But the roadblocks of financial illiteracy, the psychic influence of hyper-violent drill music, and the lasting legacies of mass incarceration and residential segregation have led to the
Crazy,
genesis of a
dude.
drastically misled generation who believe the only way out is petty crime or like rapping. The most popular rapper out of the Trumbull Gardens is a rapper named QB.
Dead niggas. All I smoke is dead niggas. All I see is dead niggas. All I smell is dead niggas. Rest in peace, your dead niggas. Fuck with all this Facebook shit, cause I heard what he said. Niggas be jazzing, they see me in person, they ducking like they owe me bread.
I know these kind of
ain't
lyrics are
bad.
common, but if you think about what he's saying, it's actually pretty fucked up and sad. Anyways, while the motivations of the Kia Boys were becoming relatively obvious, one thing I was even more curious about were the motivations behind Kia Boy hunter Kevin Morse.
Kevin
I mean,
Morse.
what would cause a 40-something-year-old man to insert himself as a vigilante in the world of Connecticut teenage crime?
Yeah.
He thinks he's a cop.
You think he a cop? Like, you was a weirdo. You like a Kia Boy hunter for real, like.
Fuck that nigga and his birthday.
Can you tell us a little bit about your past?
Yeah, so you know, I was born in Milford, and
Nobody
around
likes Kevin
8, 9
Morse,
years
huh?
old, I have an older brother
That's what
that
I'm
was starting to
thinking.
experiment with substance, alcohol, weed, cigarettes. So at 8, 9 years old, I was smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, and when I was 11, I had gotten alcohol poisoning. You know, 6th grade, which is, looking back, is kind of crazy thinking of that. When I was a teenager playing sports, I caught an injury
Why does it
and
look
I
like
was
he's getting
prescribed some
yellow and
Vicodin,
stuff?
which I really loved at the time.
What's
and it just
happening?
kind of spiraled into dealing drugs,
It's
doing
camera or
and dealing
something.
drugs. That's pretty much all I did from, you know, 10 years old to
Kevin Morse, the
24.
prior
I was
drug
stealing
dealer.
a lot from people that care about me, hurting the people closest to me. Some would say that I probably got some people hooked on pills back then, so we could do bad shit together. Eventually, after about a dozen charges, I had to go do some
Oh.
time. I was sentenced to serve 8 months
Kevin.
in jail. I paroled out and pretty much hit the ground running. I mean, I've never
Holy
looked
crap,
back,
dude.
only for growth. And
Good for
I
you, bro.
became a recovery coach. You know, I participated in opening a 18 to 25-year-old intensive outpatient program where I worked at for a couple years. And then all these parents that we started a support group with
Wow.
kept pushing
Good
me
for
to start
Kevin,
my own
dude.
business.
It all began to make sense. Kevin
buy
is
a
a
Kia,
12-step
though.
recovery guy who got clean through the program and left a life of drugs and crime behind to pursue a life of service, which is the third
he
pillar
should just
of
be
the
a cop,
NA
though.
and AA recovery model. Kevin mentioned that he himself got people hooked on pills so they could do bad shit together, something he obviously feels a lot of remorse for.
I was stealing a lot from people that care about me, hurting the people closest to me.
The 9th step of the program is to make amends, which means recognizing harm done in the past and trying
that's
to
it.
repair
Maybe
it.
that's what he's trying
But
to
for
do.
those who dealt drugs and possibly ruined the lives of others, that's not always possible. Many of Kevin's customers, I'm assuming, are now dead. So the program has an alternative avenue called
Probably.
Living Amends, where you take contrary action and make amends by doing the complete opposite of the bad things that you used to do,
So
in
that's
an
why
effort
he's
to
trying-
achieve karmic
that
balance
makes
in
sense,
the eyes of
Kevin.
a higher power. In a sense, it seems that Kevin's passion for crime fighting is informed by his own guilty conscience, which thankfully is something he's honest and open about.
That's part of the reason I do what I do, because I feel like I'm always going to be in debt to society for a lot of the crap and shit that I did, right? That I didn't get caught for or whatever.
Interesting.
So doing the stuff that I can do with On Scene
As
Media
somebody
and
went to
Lyft,
the joint, did.
you know,
4
really helps
years
me
ago,
give
huh?
back and,
Yeah.
you know,
I think I'm
heal
just
from
gonna
the
go out
past,
there
I
and
guess you could say.
Do you feel like your
I
experience
don't put myself in
jail was
danger
able to
like that,
rehabilitate
Kevin.
you?
That's the only
100%.
issue that you got.
So in
going for
terms of your
yourself.
kind of long-term
Unless you
sobriety,
can carry in Connecticut.
what do you think's like
I'm
the
not sure if
main
you can.
factor that has made it so you've been able
But
to
even if you
maintain
can't,
sobriety for
you
so long?
should.
Exposure, putting myself out there. You know, I don't fix what's not broken, so I've always kind of worn my
Don't fix what's not
addiction and
broken,
recovery on
dude.
my sleeve.
Do you think you would have been a Kia boy?
Hell yeah. Absolutely. At 12, 13 years old, if this was the way things were, absolutely we would have
Gosh, man, I don't like.
Kias and Hondas.
Channel 5 Live worldwide.
There it is, baby.
Fuck the authority. Channel 5 News. Channel 55. We don't
Channel
fuck with
55.
cops. 5
Peace.
is the best number.